road racing just once this season for the area Florida State Builders Pro Series, and just once brings us to the Charlotte Roval for the third time this week, but only once for this championship season. If you're a road ringer, this is your one and only time to shine. Welcome to Sim TV. Kyle Heyer, joined tonight by Hunter Sleppy and Finian DeCuna as we embark on this journey tonight. Finian, tonight's race is 40 laps around this 2.28 mile Roval circuit. The challenges lie ahead. The big curbs, the walls loom every which way, and this place is as challenging as any traditional road course, but this track is far from traditional.
Oh, absolutely, especially in these Pro Series cars, because let me tell you, I was wheeling this thing around just not too long ago, and I can tell you for a fact, throttle control is going to be absolutely key tonight. You can hang the car out, you can maybe do a couple of drifts, but that's going to absolutely annihilate your rear tires. So tire management is going to be big for these guys, and this might be the most difficult race for these drivers all week long.
Going to want to avoid early trouble too, Finian. On lap one in the Cup race, we saw a massive pileup coming out of the infield part of the Charlotte Roval into the NASCAR turn one, so you're going to want to avoid trouble early on. And then even the turtles going into the backstretch chicane and even the front stretch chicane, because it costed Jake Matheson the win on Monday night, and it almost costed James Skyley the Monday night winner as well. So we'll have to see how that plays into effect, Kyle.
Here's a look at the point standings coming in after race number 5. 3 drivers locked in. James Scioli with 3 wins on the season, very quickly appearing that he is the one to beat as he was last season. But there's other drivers. Connor Urashak winless, but we know he's capable of winning. Shane Therian's right there. Cameron Hearn has found better luck here than in other championships. Travis Beckner due for a win, and so many more. Some that are surprising, perhaps Mason Kane down in 12th, John Furness in 15th. How about JT Poole down in 16th place? All those drivers are capable of getting a win.
Yeah, and again, for any one of them that are really good at the road course, this is, like we mentioned, the night to get it done, because it's the only road course on this season, so you got to be on your A game, because with this race too, it's an all-out 40-lap sprint to the end. No cautions to slow the pace down.
Yeah, so if you get in trouble early on, then it's going to put you in a deep, deep hole to climb yourself out of. Although Travis Beckner was involved in that lap 1 wreck on Monday night, but we saw him rally back to an impressive top 10 finish. And it looks like we got a foot cam courtesy of Justin Munsell tonight. One to keep an eye on.
Yeah, that'll be fun to watch. Always love watching the feet at work at a place like a road course when you're blipping, downshifting, and kind of munching through the gears. That will be one of the topics of discussion in this 40-lap event tonight. The races on Monday and Tuesday, pretty dramatic. There was some incidents, especially on the opening lap, Finian, but no cautions to slow the race down once we get going. So tonight, that first lap, I think it's going to be just as important tonight as it was on Tuesday and Monday.
It really is, because again, with these cars, they're pretty loose, especially on the cold tires. So getting the tires up to temp, that's going to take a while. It's going to take maybe a lap or two. And again, like we mentioned, that big wreck coming out, and there are a lot of places where you can easily spin out. And like we mentioned, this track's very tight, very narrow, very much like a street circuit. So there isn't a whole lot of places to go to avoid a wreck.
Yeah, nowhere to go, especially if you're heading into a hard braking zone like any of the chicanes. It's going to be difficult to try and slow your car down, let alone navigate through a spinning car or a car just standing still. As we see Chris Rabel, one of the first guys to go out and put down a lap.
Yeah, pretty sizable field tonight, over 30 as well, so that's going to create some challenges on the opening couple of laps. Vinny and you and I were talking, along with Hunter, before the broadcast about how, as far as the NASCAR vehicles go, these Xfinity cars tend to road race pretty nicely. They just have a really good rotation about them. They don't blow the rear tires off immediately like the trucks do. And they just have a good balance on road courses. I think this is a fun combination, and I'm a little bit jealous that I don't get to do 40 laps tonight. I think I'd have a lot of fun.
Yeah, and again, these cars require a lot of finesse and skill to operate, because unlike the next gen, which is a lot more friendly on the road courses than in years past, the Pro Series car here, still very much more traditional, like what we expect, really, seen out of stock cars in the past. The 4-speed sequential gearbox, not sequential, sorry, H-pattern gearbox for these guys. So they're going to have to heel and toe, they're going to have to get in the clutch, manage that, getting these cars bowed down, and then the rotation to the corner. These cars are not as quick to the corners. They're going to way down on the binders to get into the brakes, and again, getting on throttle is going to be a huge thing here. You see Garrett Grant coming out of the backstretch chicane.
Yeah, going to want to watch through here the rumble strips and the turtles. There's one rumble strip that sticks out. You can kind of see on the far left side. Someone, I can't remember who it was, they went through that on Monday night, and it totally launched their car into the air more than they anticipated. And then those blue turtles over there, as we all know now, They are also going to be a factor as we see Scioli, the winner on Monday night, going to try and pull it off on Thursday night as well.
Yeah, so Scioli works his way through that backstretch chicane, and the curbs and turtle jumping in general was a topic on Monday with the very stiff suspensions that you see in the Cup Series cars, Finian. Managing that and not being too aggressive, especially when you're trying to chase someone down. You can take a bad bounce and lose all the time you gain, so you have to be patient, especially late in the run when your tires are burned up. If you're slamming those tires back down on the ground, it's going to cost you more time than it will gain you.
Yeah, we saw Jake Matheson, who was trying to reel down this man right here, the number 7, James Scioli, went over the curbs a couple of times, a little bit too much, and costing him enough time. But even for tonight, too, you don't want to completely clobber them. You want to just ride them a little bit to help with that rotation here. As James Scioli is working his way through one of the better road course racers here tonight. You talk about those road ringers. Well, he's not just good everywhere else. He's really good on the road courses.
Yeah, always has a patent for these road courses. Him and Travis Beckner go way back. Scioli is indeed the only winner here for the Pro Series at the Charlotte Roval. He led 31 of 35 laps back in the day. Now it's up to 40 laps, so going to be interesting to see how that plays into effect. And here's Roval coming through the front stretch chicane. Going to put down first lap time on the board. Oh, and there you saw him. You saw him right there, Kyle, go through that last rumble strip and that last turtle. Sent his car almost into the wall.
Yeah, he actually invalidated his lap as well. Matthew Bell jumps to the top at a 1:21.748. Garrett Grant goes second. Here comes Scioli working his way through the final corner now as Greg Mitchell jumps up to second place. This 7 car, though, is probably the biggest threat for pole of anybody here. And pretty calm, cool, and collected. Big chunk of curb there. A little late back to throttle. And it's going to be a 99.7 lap average, 120.722 to the top of the board.
Solid time for Scioli, nearly a second ahead of the next competitor as the lap times start to trickle in here. Matthew Bell with a pretty decent time. We'll see if anyone can usurp it. There is the 6 of Justin Munsell working his way on through. Ooh, and got the camera on the pedal, so you really get to see that finesse, that footwork that you need to get around here quick.
Maybe Bob Kern could take notes on this, and it's a one way to hide your free feet pics for the night if you watched Monday night. He had his camera somewhat on the foot, but not as close as Munsell had. He puts down a lap.
And off the brakes pretty early there through turn 1. And I think you're going to see some trail braking as well here just to get the car rotated on entry in the middle of the corner. These cars don't need a lot of assistance rotating on exit. They've got plenty of power to do just that. A lot of coasting here and squeezing back on the throttle here. Right back on the binders again. Need a little bit more pressure there just to get the nose to rotate. And gently back on throttle. Fun to watch.
Yeah, and especially working your way through the infield real quick. Talk about trail braking. Definitely you want to use that in the infield section because it's so tight, twisty, and these things not the best at making some tight turns. You really got to make the car work for you here as it gets back to the oval and essentially full throttle down.
A little bit of wheel hop there. You can hear it. And Gentle jumps over the curbs there. Watch that wall on the exit. That'll get you if you're not too careful. Don Furness up to 5th. Talk about road ringers. He's one that could sneak up and surprise Scioli tonight. Think back to Mid-Ohio a couple seasons ago. That was an epic battle between those two. Here comes Munsell across the stripe. What's it going to be for the number 6 on lap 1 at 1:21.712? That'll be a decent enough lap to drop him in second place, and he's still got a lap to go.
Still got a lap to go. Alan Elwood now coming to the checkered flag to end his qualifying run, trying to see if he can jump better than 4th. And Munsell continues his laps around.
There's Eric Wineland on his quick lap.
And Eric Wineland actually participating in a endurance series using the GTP cars, specifically driving the Cadillac. So he's been trying to get some more road course experience, see if it's paid off.
Keep looking up. I think he realizes that he's on the screen now.
Pressure.
But I talked to him a little bit. Said that the car is handling fine. Handles fine on the early stints, so we'll see how it handles in the later runs as he's heading to the backstretch chicane. Gonna get a nice exit here.
A good launch up onto the banking here through 3 and 4, NASCAR 3 and 4. I think it's 11 and 12 on the numbered Roval configuration. A little bit of a lock up there as the car transitions back. Little clip of the turf on the left. Curbs on the left and right. Back across the stripe. What's it going to be? A 1:23.390. It's probably not what he was hoping for, but he's got one lap to go quicker. And sometimes that first lap is just a banker, just to get a safe lap in, and you can go quicker on your second lap out.
Yeah, it's definitely what you want to do when it comes to qualifying on the road courses. Go a little bit easier on the first lap, and then push more on the second in case you get an off track, in case you get and hit the walls. We look at the 73. Jake Nichols coming to the stripe to complete his first lap. Goes flying into the final chicane. Going to just grab a dab of AstroTurf off to the left through the chicane, flying through the final curb and across the line.
Nichols with a win earlier this year from the Atlanta Super Speedway build. So yeah, P3 on the board for the 73. And the last 4 races, it's been Skyley or Jake Nichols getting the win, with Richard Thomas winning at Daytona. And Nichols warranted Skyley from having a three-peat in Atlanta. And if Skyley would have got that done, he would be looking for 5 in a row here.
John Furness getting some extra practice laps in, practicing a pit entry as well. Without cautions to slow the pace of the race, you got to know how to get on and off of pit lane efficiently. And let's talk a little bit about strategy. Monday night, we effectively saw nothing as far as strategy is concerned as Steve Durham goes around for a spin on the front straightaway because the tires didn't wear. Now, Tuesday, we saw a bit of a different story as far as tire wear. We saw a lot more tire wear, to be specific. That opened up strategy quite a bit. I imagine that the Florida State Builders Pro Series cars, Finian, are going to be somewhere closer to the truck side than anything else, where they're gonna wear out the tires a lot more certainly than we saw on Monday.
Yeah, and part of that too is up to the drivers. Like I mentioned earlier as we started the broadcast, you're very much in control of your own destiny when it comes to the tires. Yes, the tires are going to eventually wear out and they're going to go kaput. That being said, though, depending on how hard you drive, if you're putting in a little bit too more steering wheel than you need to, you're going to wear out the fronts. If you put in a little bit too much throttle than you need to, you're going to start to wear out the rears a little bit more. And then, of course, how aggressive you are with that. Some drivers are a little better, especially more experienced road course racers, at getting speed out of the tires without completely abusing them. So those are going to be the guys that really excel in the middle and the later parts of the run.
And even there, you see Eric Larley improved to 11th, just a few thousandths of a second shy of cracking that top 10. But it'll be a good start in 11th for the 66.
Yeah, that's a really strong run. We had about almost a dozen cars that did not qualify. Well, some of them tried. Casey Lakatos, Chris Rabel, Ed Robertson, Mason Kane, Tom Bourne, Steve Durham, Nick Massey, and Spencer Brown all did not record times, and only 4 of those didn't attempt. The others tried and were not successful in completing a clean lap around here at the Roval. But good news is they only have to make 40 revolutions around this circuit in the next hour and a half or so. So if they couldn't get it done twice, they're going to get 20 times more chances at getting a couple clean laps in here before we go racing tonight, Finian.
I was going to say, it might not be necessarily a good thing for some of these drivers. I think for a lot of them, they can't wait to get out of the road course here. But like you mentioned, they got 40 laps till that is official.
And it's some kind. I was going to say, Hunter, it's a throwaway round, as we said on Monday and on Tuesday. If you don't like road racing, great news. There's only one of these on the calendar. You can forget about it next week. You don't have to worry about these in the playoffs. This is a little bit of an oddity as far as the season is concerned. We used to do a little bit more road racing than we do now, but with only one on the calendar, if you're bad at it, no big deal, Hunter.
Yeah, not too many people are thrilled with the idea of making right-hand turns on road courses, but nonetheless, this is the only one of the season, and next week we'll be in Charlotte for all 3 series, this time on the Oval. No more Roval, and again, no more road racing after tonight for any of the area series.
So before we get kicked off with our 40-lap race tonight, race fans, be sure to subscribe to the Area iRacing Twitch channel. As a subscriber, you'll have area emotes to use in the chat. You'll also earn double channel points as a subscriber that you can use to redeem for free merchandise, all at the price of just $5 a month. Waiting for the warm-up to complete here before we go racing. Have a look at the weather. It's a little bit warmer tonight than it was the last couple of nights. 98 degrees Fahrenheit on the racetrack, but a nice temperature of 75 out in the air and relatively low humidity, which means track should be not super slick, Finian, but it's not going to be the grippiest it could be as the checkered flag falls here on warm-up.
Yeah, I mean, it's going to be better than what these guys are dealing with on Sunday. I think it was, or not Sunday, on Monday, where it was about around 120 degrees on the track. Of course, for them, it didn't really matter because the tires didn't really react to the temperature as much. And those guys are pretty planted, all things considered.
Well, engines are firing here. Race fans, start your engines with a fresh cup of Roasted Gems coffee. Choose from some of the finest coffee beans from Colombia and Peru, or try the blended flavors of French vanilla and hazelnut. Use discount code Area iRacing for 10% off your order at checkout at roastedgems.com. The grid tonight, kicking things off with that Roasted Gems coffee starting lineup. James Scioli, no surprises there. And the number 7 starts on the front row alongside Connor Urashak, still looking for his first win on the season.
Don't know what. I'm not sure where he went.
Sorry, I'm muted. We got Jake Nichols in third in the 73.
Where'd he
Travis
go?
Beckner in the 27 in fourth.
Gave him a long time just in case. Row 3, it's going to be Justin Munsell in the number 6 alongside Matthew Bell in that number 43.
Moving on back to moving on back to 7th place is going to be Alan Elwood in the number 10, lined up in 7th. Next to Greg Mitchell in the number 2, lined up in 8th.
And 9th place, John Furness in the number 28, a little further back than I thought he would qualify. Shane Abbey starts 10th in the number 84.
Eric Weiland going to be rolling off in 11th place in the 66 car next to Brandon Bowie in 23rd in the 23 car in 12th.
And Cameron Hearn in the number wow, we're both messing that up. I gotta redesign this graphic. The number 4 car, that's the Ford Mustang, starts 13th. Garrett Grant, 14th in the number 5. It sucks when they're the same letter. And you're trying to, oh gosh. Anyway.
Well, I have an excuse. I'm going off the timing screen.
Okay, well.
In 15th, we find Richard Thomas in the 37. 16th place, we find Jeremy Miller in the 30 car.
And Justin Anasogak starts 17th in the number 88. Bryce Senesac starts 18th in the number 09.
Jane Charon's going to be rolling off in the 9 car in 19th, rounding out your top 20. Brad Slaughter Jr. in the 8 car in 20th. 21st place, Brody Falliker in the number 42. Clayton Montgomery starts 22nd in the number 45. Diego Garcia going to be rolling off in the 41 car in 23rd. Next to him, Danny Ware in the 49 in 24th. Van Pierce starts 25th in the number 65. Bronson Stafford 26th in the number 61. DT Bulls going to roll off in the 26 car in 27th place. Alex Weaver next to him in the 62 in 28th. And Delonte Ballard 29th in the number 21. Chris Rabel, the 29 Ford, starts 30th. Moving back to 31st, Nick Massey in the number 20 car, and next to him is going to be Ed Robertson in the 64 in 32nd. And 33rd place, Casey Lakatos in the number 50. Steve Durham 34th in the number 1. Then moving on back, we find Mason Kane in 35th in the 31 car. Tom Bourne next to him in 36 in the number 16. And last row, it's a lonely one. Spencer Brown, 37th in the number 95. That's your starting lineup here. 37 cars at the Charlotte Roval. It can get condensed on this opening lap as drivers just fight for grip, fight for space. We saw it kind of come to a head on Monday and on Tuesday with some opening lap crashes and some penalties. One of it which went to James Scioli for a wreck that happened in the backstretch chicane on the opening lap. He ended up getting involved in a further tussle later in the race and ended up not finishing on Tuesday night, despite Hunter having perhaps the best car and best driver, perhaps even that, behind the wheel.
Indeed, going to look for a smooth sail getaway here on the opening lap as they're heading through their final pace lap. And I'm just going to go ahead and make my pick now. It is indeed the 7 of Scioli. I'll have first dibs on this one.
All right. I think Connor Urashak's due for one, so I'm going to give it to the 12. He's going to have some work to be done here to catch that number 7, though. The nice thing about road courses is that generally your pick is going to be from that front row because, Finian, you know as well as I that road racing is a whole different animal. And where you qualify is generally where you run unless you make a mistake and mess it up for yourself.
Yeah, it really is. I mean, because of that qualifying pace, especially the differentiation we've seen in qualifying for these guys. And talking about picks, I think I'm going to go with the 73 of Jake Nichols.
All 3 of our picks from the top 3. Not a ton of surprises there. There's the field in sight. Last time through the back straightaway chicane at pace speed. It's almost as hard to navigate at pace car speed as it is in anger.
Oh, yeah. The tight chicane, what can you say? At least it's better than what we had in 2018, right?
Yeah.
Oh, no.
You didn't have to slow down as much for that one, and which got you in trouble a couple of times. Field rolls through turns 3 and 4. This race will take us under an hour from flag to flag. And all the action gets kicked off here with the start of this race on the opening lap. keep your eyes and ears peeled for the action here at the Charlotte Roval, the Florida State Builders Area Pro Series. Round number 6 of the season. Got a long way to go until the 17th and final round of the year, but this is their one and only chance to watch the drivers make lefts and rights all in one night. Here comes Scioli and Connor Urashak to the green flag. Green flag flies. We're racing at the Roval. Decent start so far. James Scioli takes the lead, and we'll try to put some distance on Connor Urashak and others as the rest of the field still double file for some of them. Look at Urashak pressuring Scioli here. Everyone else falling into line here as they head up to turn 8, the exit of the Roval back onto the NASCAR banks.
Oh yeah, the number 12 Urashak almost gave a little bit of a shunt to the 7 coming back onto the oval. He's just carrying so much speed through there, but these two a little bit of a breakaway from Travis Beckner and Jake Nichols.
Slower on down, heading into the backstretch chicane. Going to give a bump almost to the 7, and that's going to get these guys a little bit wide. Here comes the 27 of Beckner, already up to 3rd, and the rest of the field works their way through turns 11 and 12.
Oh, one car a little wide there. In the background is at the 49, I think, of Danny Ware. Here's Nichols on Travis Beckner for 3rd place. Both the braking zones for the chicanes are pretty tricky. You're kind of at the back straightaway, you just want to keep accelerating. You're nowhere near the fastest the car will go, but you have to hit the brakes sooner than you think. And then, of course, that challenging final corner chicane where you're still turning as you get into the braking zone. You see a lot of lockups and spins heading into that corner.
Yeah, John Furness just found out how difficult one of the chicanes were. On the backstretch chicane, he ended up having a little bit of a lockup heading into there. It almost took out Matthew Bell, but was able to avoid calamity. He'll continue on, looking at Eric Wineland in the midst of a battle. Greg Mitchell trying to get back past him as Eric Wineland was able to break him just inside the top 10.
Yeah, had to pinch Mitchell there going through turn 4, now into turn 5.
Mitchell's hurt. Mitchell with a huge amount of rear damage.
I wonder who that belongs to. Doesn't just happen magically. Someone's got the matching set. You have to wonder if they're in front of him.
Looks like Shane Abbey hit him, but it was kind of like a lot of neck code damage, if anything, so it really wasn't that big of a hit. So
Mitchell on the inside of Brandon Bowie down here into the chicane. Everyone being fairly patient so far. Maybe some learnings from the other series so far this week.
I think really right now what we're seeing is a lot of guys just trying to learn and just kind of feel out the race car, feel out of these conditions, and then they'll start to go more on the attack like what we're seeing here. Bryce Senezak trying to get past Jeremy Miller, battle for 16th place amongst these two.
That is where Senezak finished on Monday night in the Cup Series. And was the highest Toyota driver, but there's only there are about 3 or 4 drivers racing the Toyotas from Monday night. So he has a little bit of experience from Monday, but different from the Cup car to the Pro Series car that they're in right now. Mitchell hangs on with Garrett Grant behind lurking.
And one of the drivers that started way towards the rear of the field was JT Poole. And he's slow through turn 3. He's down in 30th place. And a long night ahead of him for sure.
Yeah, it was slow because he had to slow down and cut one of the chicanes a little bit too aggressively.
Drop spots since the start of the race too, which is concerning. Maybe some of that due to the slowdown. Urashak has not been able to keep pace with Scioli. Scioli's in the distance. Urashak second. And Travis Beckner beginning to reel in that number 12. We saw how quick Travis was in the Truck Series race, just never could quite get there. Here's Richard Thomas on Mitchell, who's wide. The contact there, the 2 half spins, but straightens it back out.
Yeah, for Greg Mitchell, this has been a horrible start. Started 8th and now going to get put 4 wide on the Roval. Wow. And somehow they make it on through.
St. Daniel there was on the apron, keeping him 4 wide as they're walking up in front of it, and Stogak in the 88. But man, oh man, I didn't think we'd see that at all.
Yeah, that was not on my Charlotte Roval bingo card. Have a look at this as they come out of the chicane. They just kind of got crossed up. Terry went to the bottom here and never got the chance to move back up on the racetrack. 4 wide for a minute. The 2 back down, the 9 slid back up onto the racetrack, and just somehow they didn't all wad it up in that. That was impressive driving by everybody there. I don't think they meant to get that way, but
no,
not usually how 4-wide happens anyway.
It was impressive, especially for Shane Terry, because it's hard to control these things at speed on the apron. So props to him for keeping it under control and actually benefiting from that. But Greg Mitchell, his downfall is going to continue from 8th back to 20th for him.
There's Falker in the 42, hold on in the 25th as Kane just slapped the wall there in the 31, up to 24th after not getting a lap down in qualifying. A little further up the road, Cameron Hearn running in 12th, hunting down 11th place Eric Weiland, but on board with 13th place Garrett Grant.
Just hear that thing just spit back into power. It's amazing how you just punch the throttle and it just wants to go. Nico Garcia's had a problem in the backstretch. Chicane crash.
2 cars that had a problem. Macy Kane and Danny Ware.
Big damage on the back of the 49. Let's see what happens here. Garcia and the 2 get together, and then the 49 and 31 get together separately, and the tailgate just falls off. But here's how that started. Watch the 41 of Garcia here on Greg Mitchell. It's up underneath him here. I think he's going to kind of straight line to the apex, and Mitchell bounced off the curbs and the fence.
I think he thought the 2 was going to yield that, but still owed him a little bit of space. And Danny Ware spun trying to avoid, collect to the 31. Is that JT Poole dropping in another spot?
Sure is. JT's, I think, gaining 1 back.
Yeah, I believe gaining.
Oh, there we go. That's already pessimistic there, but looks like he's getting passed again. But yeah, he has actually gotten up to 26, so he's made 1 net positive spot. If anything, this could benefit him if he's trying to conserve his tires a little bit more. It could help him later on in the run.
Wondering where his smiley self is. It's not an Arjun call tonight. He was so excited to be driving cars.
Probably because he knew he was. I was gonna say probably because he knew he wasn't gonna be smiling tonight. Maybe that's why he decided to take the week off.
Brandon Bowie, 10th place, started this race at 12. He's up 2 and looking for another one. The back of Shane Abbey in that 84.
Just ahead of them, battle for position between Yurshek, Beckner, and Nichols. 3-way battle for 2nd place. Nichols made a bit of a dive. Speaking of a dive, there's another one. There's Weiland to the inside of Brandon Bowie.
Got it, took it, Hayes through, and going back to that battle for 4th. You were mentioning 3rd place rather. Hunter, Beckner, Nichols, and Munsell at the mirror.
Munsell in the mirror, and they're catching up on Euroshak too, so we might have a 4-horse race here for 1 position at some point in time, but for now it's still Nichols front, the back bumper of Beckner running in board with him. Going to be heading up onto NASCAR turn 1, turn 9 on the Roval.
Yeah, what I meant earlier by you're not getting to your maximum velocity here, these cars can easily get above 190 miles an hour just capping 160 before you have to get on the brakes. And the old chicane, you could carry a lot more speed for a lot longer, and you didn't have to slow down all that much. You kind of would sling through it, but now you're effectively stopping on the backstretch. It's a very abrupt velocity change, and it opens up a passing opportunity, but you have to be aggressive to get there. And look at Nichols on the outside of the final corner here underneath Beckner. That's tight. Oh, man.
And Nichols, I think, was hoping that Beckner would yield more, but Beckner held his ground, and he has the right to, and was able to keep and defend that spot. Allowed now Justin Munsell, we're riding on board with. He's now caught up to the back of that 73. Now you really got to finesse that footwork.
And watch how he goes through 3 and 4, and then onto the short straightaway before turn 5. Getting closer to the battle for 3rd. That'll make it a 3-horse race as they're rolling into turn 5.
Oh, Nichols kind of missed the turn-in point there. Maybe trying to arc into 7 a bit later, but Munsell closed that gap just the slightest bit. Alan Elwood in the 10. Not too far behind either. We haven't really talked about Alan a lot yet tonight. Up onto the banking and then watch the foot come off just for the shift for a moment, then right back to it. 1 more shift, and then it's going to be downshifting from here. Left foot on the brakes, flip, flip. We'll see if he goes to 1st. He's not. He's going to stay in 2nd gear. Avoid spinning the rear tires.
Yeah, that's the big thing, too, just not trying to make sure you just jump on the power immediately. You want to gradually get on, and you don't want to start spinning up those rear tires because then it's going to make them even more slick the next time you get back on the power. The second time you have to let them cool down here. Speaking of battle, though, that's starting to heat up is the two. Greg Mitchell still trying to hold on to whatever he can as Brody Falker, now the next one, trying to get past him. Battle for 21st.
Yeah, trying to make that climb back inside the top 20 with the damage to the bumper of the 2.
Brody Falker in the 42 car started 21st, and it has not been a very fruitful night so far. Bronson Stafford is up only a couple of spots as well. And these are some of the drivers that I think are just looking forward to being on the oval next week and getting a reprieve from jumping curbs and making right-hand turns. I saw some people, I mentioned this the other day, I think on the Tuesday broadcast, and there were drivers in the Discord talking, man, I love road racing when I'm not in a stock car. And they basically said that they just discovered how fun road racing can be when the car has grip and downforce and all the things that you're used to. And while a lot of times road racers will think the opposite, I love not having downforce, I love not having grip. It's just funny how the perception can change.
Yeah, I think there are a couple drivers in this field that ran the iRacing 24 last year, if I'm not mistaken. I'm not sure if it's a different league or not, but a couple people have been warming up to it, and that's right. But yeah, no, when you have a car that has downforce and was designed for road course racing, it can be a lot of fun. Oh, one driver not having a lot of fun, Alex Weaver, and Danny Ware again.
Yeah, this is a big crash here. Re-entering NASCAR Banks. These two got together. I think Weaver and Elwood are going to probably hit the wall here. Bam! And then nowhere for Elwood to go. And then, right into the concrete. That's going to be a heavy hit. Oh, man. That's going to be a night over for probably both those cars.
I think more so for Danny Ware. His car was smoking. I think the 62 was able to drive away. Just missing a rear bumper.
Guess you don't need that part. Yep. JT Poole closing it on Chris Rabel. This is for 24th place. Look at tuck underneath. Not wasting any time now.
Speaking clear on the exit, is not able to finish it off, but in this next corner, typically should be able to. There he goes. So pass rail up to 24th.
Slow and steady climb for JT Poole, but back up for the podium position. It's still Beckner holding third. Nichols all over the bumper, going to look to the outside now as they're heading into turn 3. NASCAR turn 3, and then you got Justin Munsell not too far behind. We'll see if Nichols can send it in again. Going to think twice of it and try to make Beckner overdrive.
Yeah, this is a really intense battle here. Ooh, a little bit of a slide there. Both going to clobber the curbs. Nichols gets up underneath. Beckner passes it to turn 1 here, Finian.
Trying to see if he can get past Beckner. Going to hold strong on that outside lane. If he can hang on, you have to run some contact. Dorman hanging off of turn 1 into turn 2. Nichols not quite able to get there, and Beckner will still hang on to third place.
Oh, Nichols going to look down low, heading into 4. Not going to be enough, though, as Beckner's going to have to drive off, but Nichols still there. Here comes Munsell now to the outside into turn 5. Going to be tight.
What a battle here between Beckner, Nichols, and Munsell. They're going to straighten back out 3, 4, 5. Nichols burned up some rear tires doing that. We saw him sliding the car around. Ooh, Beckner bounced off the fence. Nichols gets a better run here, tighter to that inside wall. But I think Nichols is better leaving that back straightaway chicane. That seemed to be where his advantage was last time. But he lit up the rear tires to get there. You can't do that every lap of the race, Finian, or you're going to burn your stuff off too quick.
Yeah, you can only really do it selectively, and if you do, you really got to give it time for the rear tires to cool back down, otherwise you're going to keep spinning them every single time you get back on them. It's only going to make the problem even worse, so probably going to see Nichols maybe wait another lap before he tries to have a charge back on the 27. The other option he has is maybe if you're talking about strategy, how there wasn't a whole lot of it on Monday, but coming into tonight here for these drivers, especially if you're in a tight battle like this, if you can't pass them on the racetrack, you might have a chance passing them on pit road.
It will be interesting to see how the green flag pit stops play out. If how early they make it, it's all up to the drivers. Looking a little further back here, Senesac in the 09. Boy, he's got a hornet's nest of a battle here with Slaughter and Sogak. Oh, and then here comes Alan Elwood trying to make a late charge.
Senesac up underneath Sogak into 1. And Clayton Montgomery watching all of it.
Yeah, Montgomery not Elwood. Elwood is 6th, actually.
wrong name. I was looking at the Simrat Market colors. and auto spat.
I did the same thing.
Yeah.
That just proves how good Elwood is at making paint schemes. Because
yeah, to
how good do you
recognizable.
think it is?
I would like to shapeshift into Alan Elwood tonight.
He's not too far behind. You can actually see him just coming in there off of banking on NASCAR turn 2. So he's trailing in, catching up actually to Beckner, Nichols, and Munsell.
Have you guys seen that? Sorry, side note. You guys seen that Instagram reel, that girl putting makeup on? And she's like, if the men find out we can shapeshift, they're going to tell the church. I just think that's so funny. Oh, boy. Final chicane here. This battle, wow, look at Beckner and Nichols just clobbering those curbs on their pursuit of each other. But this is what we saw on Monday, and it doesn't work. There's only a certain amount of curb that the car will take before it starts losing you time, and you've got to clean those chicanes up to find the advantage you're looking for.
Yeah, I mean, you really only need to really take up maybe the the regular curbing. After that, the second stage curbing, the blue turtles, as people like to call it, you really don't want to get the car up on there. Maybe just ride it a little bit to help with rotation, but you don't want to mount it because it just upsets the car, throws the car off balance, and then you'll lose a lot of speed, especially what we see in the chicanes where drivers are really just trying to attack them. But you can maybe get away with them in the next-gen car, not so much with these cars.
You don't want to hop over them too much, otherwise your car would turn into an airplane and take off. So you're going to want to avoid that as Munsell is looking to pick up another position here on the bumper of Jake Nichols. Going to look low, but tuck back in, heading into the backstretch chicane.
Munsell's heating up Nichols here, and they've lost about a
car
second.
spot in front of these guys. You bear them off to the right-hand side.
See how he got here. Got in there a little hot and looped it around. Too much weight in the nose for too long. Good battles here, though, inside the top 5, which is always fun. Here's Shane Abbey. Look at Eric Wineland up to 9th place. If he can hold this off from the 84, and he does. Shane Abbey gives in, and here comes Cameron Hearn with a late lunge.
Wineland messed up. Wineland messed up. Went on too much curving. Here we go. 3 wide on the front. Straight away, Wineland going to get split around the outside and the inside, and now it's going to be fight as it looks like Cameron Hearn couldn't quite hold it off. Abbey up ahead. Hearn still trying to pass Wineland, and he will get past. So Wineland back to 11th. But Brandon Bowie's still in the mix here as we got another great battle for position.
That's a 2-for-1 special. You don't want to lose 2 positions for the price of 1 corner. We saw that with the 66 of Elwood. Here comes Munsell, the 6th car to the outside, trying to get a run on Jake Nichols. Now to back off, otherwise he's going to smack that wall. Going into NASCAR turn 1, now he's going to have to put the pressure back on, working towards the backstretch chicane.
Good defense from Nichols there to keep that inside lane and get the straighter drive up onto the banking and keep the 6th behind him. So great defense there, but they are losing lots of time. Travis Beckner 2 seconds up the road, and even Alan Elwood creeping into the mix. Looking a little different tonight with the colors on the car. Like it though, the gold and black looks very good. And up 1 spot into 6th place. Nice solid night.
Yeah, I think that Nichols has probably burned up his tires a little bit too much. I think again he might benefit from coming into the pit lane a little bit earlier. He's gonna probably burn up a little bit more tires here trying to defend from the 6th. Justin Munsell looking back at that battle though. Cameron Hearn leading Eric Wineland, Brandon Bowie with Shane Abbey just ahead of him.
The left side tires are on that.
Shane Abbey messed up.
Oh. Now here comes Hearn on the bumper of Abbey. Gonna have to back off to make the corner, but Wineland used the left side tires on the AstroTurf. Not sure if that's gonna affect the car or not. Nonetheless, still impressive battle. Abbey, Hearn gonna touch potentially going into turn 3. Here comes Wineland trying to enter back in with Bowie behind.
I love these cars. I love road racing. Watch the 4 slip and slide. Here comes Wineland to the inside now to get one of those 2 spots he lost back. The 4 is out of control sideways. He gassed it up to keep the 66 behind and was able to keep it on the black stuff.
Yeah, Shane Abbey, his tires are lit up. You can see him struggling to get the power down because he's been sliding all over the place. Cameron Hearn now starting to do much of the same. So Wineland, if he's patient enough, might have a chance of getting by. We see Brandon Bowie, he's been very patient in this battle. Maybe try to make a couple moves here and there on the 66, but really waiting to see what plays out with the 2 up ahead. I think he smells something bad could happen.
Here's a good look at it in the backstretch chicane. 9th place Abbey going through and then leading the way for the rest of the drivers behind. Not too much battling, but nonetheless, they're still close nose and tail. Richard Thomas, the Daytona winner, running 14th on the track with Jeremy Miller close pursuit for 14th on the track.
Lots of very tight battles from 10th on back to 20th. My timing screen lit up in red, which signifies drivers within a second, and it's very bright red if they're within a half a second, and it is just lit up like a demonic Christmas tree right now. There's just so much battling happening all over the racetrack. You're seeing a lot of it in shot here from Shane Abbey on back in 9th. And even JT Poole, how about this, into the final chicane. There's a little slide there. Here comes Roval back by.
Roval's going to try to have a chance and will get by clear into turn 1. Looking also at Justin Munsell, Jake Nichols. That battle has got really close for just a second between those two. They head back on the oval to 73. Nichols really starting to have a handful of that car. Munsell's been putting a lot of pressure.
Going to try and continue to put that pressure on Jake Nichols as they're working out turn 12 and on the NASCAR turn 3. These guys are closing in on 13.5 seconds behind race leader James Scioli, who's driven away with this. But you see the replay here of Nichols having a little moment.
Watch the hands there. See him go all the way back. That's the struggle that he's having. When he gets the power down, he's struggling to keep the car from washing out from underneath him. And every time you make one of those corrections and apply power, it's going to cause you strife. Jeremy Miller's gone around at the backstretch chicane.
Yeah, single car spin for him in the back stretch chicane. Just got over the curving a little bit too inconsistently there, and now off the back of 37, Richard Thomas, and around he went number 30 machine. Actually, he comes down to pit lane.
Whoa, smoke on the front straightaway. Who's that?
Goodness,
Shane Abbey right in the middle of the field, and big damage. So does Cameron Hearn.
Oh, and wrecking at turn 1 almost as Eric Wineland door to Brandon Bowie. A whole bunch of things going down. This is what I was talking about. Something was going to give.
Comes Harper in turn, taking a victim. See the 84 get it wrong, and then right here, nowhere for Cameron Hearn to go. Wineland gets involved in it, so does Bowie, and then these two pull away. And off into one. Here's that crash that you were pointing out. Just big lockups there, almost a bigger collision.
And big winner out of that was Garrett Grant. You just passed 4 cars on the front straightaway.
Bronson Stafford around.
Oh.
I heard somebody's motor go explodey there, too.
That's a bad
it was his.
It's into Rabel, and he's going to catch this concrete. That's a big hit. And there was the motor.
Bad place for a car to be set still, especially with the pit exit right there as well. So not a good night on the ending note for Bronson Stafford. But battle for 4th is still heating up. Jake Nichols keeping the 6th of Munsell at bay. Then you see in the back there, Elwood holding on to 6th on John Burns, who's made the climb up inside the top 10.
And pit stops are underway. A couple drivers have made stops now. You got the option, just come in immediately. Eric Wineland is coming in, Justin Sodak is coming in, but Jake Nichols is on life support here. Those tires are not happy right now. Big slide from Munsell too into turn 5.
Yeah, I was going to say, he can really benefit from coming in. He's one of the slowest drivers in the top 5 at the moment, so I think might benefit coming in, or maybe he's trying to play this the long run, maybe trying to have better tires towards the end of the run rather than the beginning.
Maybe he's got to overcut instead of undercut to try and make passes on the racetrack, and hope that they have fresher tires towards the end as heading into the backstretch chicane is Munsell in the 6. He tapped the wall before coming on the NASCAR turn 1. Now trying to make up that ground through the exit of the backstretch chicane.
Kind of botched the upshift there a little bit, and this will be a pit stop here.
Yeah, coming in, so surprising what I thought would be the opposite. So Jake Nichols will be able to continue now without a whole lot of pressure from behind.
Bowie and Garrett Grant, this is a good battle for 9th heating up here. I wonder if Bowie will bail out and come to pit road to avoid having to make a pass here. Sometimes hitting pit road just to get out of traffic is a smart call.
I think he feels confident trying to get past the number 5 of Garrett Grant on the track. I mean, I think he was ahead of him earlier on in the race. He figures he might have a solid chance getting back. And I think for Brandon Bowie, his tires are pretty decent in comparison to the guys around him. So he's going to try to maybe run a little bit farther into this race with these set of tires.
Yeah, great battles on the track after all that skirmishing for 8th place. Grant holding off Bowie, and then Richard Thomas sneaking into the top 10 as well. JT Poole Boy, he's been having a up and down roller coaster kind of day. Brad Slaughter, he made his pit stop, so he's good to go the rest of the way. Here's Bowie to the outside of Grant.
Look at that move. That's a tough line to make work, but he's done it. Goes around the outside of Garrett Grant and through, takes the position away from him.
Started off the turn, the exit at turn 4, got into the 5 a little bit to upset his car, and now is going to get compromised on the exit. Get right back. Contact and a crash.
Grant backed off because Bowie tapped the wall before entering the turn 1 area, and then he tapped it again. There's a little tap there, and then this tap right here is all it took to get into the 5.
I think you may want to rewind back to turn 4 to, I think, see where this probably started a little bit.
Oop, right there, a little tag. He got him turned sideways there slightly. And then it went around the outside, which was a very impressive move. He had the pass complete, but then right here, just drives it a bit too hard into 7, washes out, clips the fence, avoids him being able to turn in and cover the spot from the 5, washes out again, hits the fence, turns off the wall, picks up the 5, and loops him around. Some damage now behind Justin Munsell, who's made his pit stop. Others coming on to pit road this time. Garrett Grant will as well. No challenge for James Scioli. He's out front by 7 seconds. Still making some of the fastest laps of those that have yet to pit. I think he'll wait until his fuel is effectively ready to be refilled.
I think I saw a big plume of smoke in turn 1. Chris Rabel went around a little while ago. Didn't hit anyone.
Halfway through this time by. So if you're going to split this mathematically, this would be the lap that you would enter pit lane. Jake Nichols and Furnace.
Right on cue, they will come in. So they're cutting this entirely in half. I think for Jake Nichols, though, he's probably going to definitely get passed by Justin Munsell. But now you can argue Jake Nichols is going to have fresh tires.
I don't even know if you have to argue. I think that's just fact, but it's just how
much.
I mean,
I guess what you can argue is whether or not it's going to be enough for Nichols, and will that benefit him? You know, getting the fresh tires. Can he get back around Justin Munsell? But one thing's for certain, one thing's definite fact is that I don't think at this point anyone's catching the 7 of James Scioli unless something catastrophic happens to him, and that's really only going to be faced with him getting through lap traffic, which he's got quite a decent amount of ahead of him.
Near 9 seconds on that lead for 7 of Scioli. Here's Rabel gonna hold down and bring it into pit road.
It's a slow pit lane speed too, 40 miles an hour. About a half dozen cars or so that have yet to pit. Scioli is in. Urashak's going to follow. What does Beckner do? He's going to come in as well. He's going to be very aggressive on the entry. Look at him sail down in here.
Looks like Alan Elwood's going to continue onwards. One of the first drivers to not pick this lap. Matthew Bell is into pit lane. There is Justin Munsell ahead of Richard Thomas, who we're looking at the moment. Clayton Montgomery. I haven't talked about the 45 a whole lot. Fairly quiet race, but he's up 14 spots for 22nd.
Oh, late entry on the pit road. Actually passed Richard Thomas just before getting in. I'm not sure if he was speeding or not, but if not, that was a very good job of driving by the 45 of Montgomery.
Yeah, he's good. I consider that a really aggressive entry and managed to make it stick and work. So give him credit where credit's due. So Scioli will lead Urashak now by 9 seconds. So he gained some on that pit stop sequence. And the last driver yet to pit out front is Alan Elwood in the number 10.
It should be coming in due time. One battle that's heated up after the pit stops for third place. Urashak and Beckner gotten a little bit closer. 3/4 of a second separating both of those drivers.
Look at Beckner close on the brakes. He was so good at this on Tuesday as well in the trucks. And just kind of got out-raced by his own teammate there, Jake Matheson. But without Matheson here tonight, Opens up the possibility for Beckner to one up, but I don't think an overall race victory is likely here. But look at this send from a long ways back into the chicane. He's going to shovel the 12 off course, but Urashak jumps the curbs and stays ahead.
I don't necessarily know if that was planned, because it definitely didn't look like it, but it is the plan now. Beckner trying to go around the outside, gets caught up by his teammate. Hello! Justin Munsell throws it up the inside of Travis Beckner.
Oh, he's going to pull the fence. That was tight. Holy cow.
Almost put him in the concrete. They're still fighting hard. Beckner now going to be the inside for the next 2 turns, but Munsell can hang on. That outside run is pretty solid. He couldn't quite get the power down, and Beckner's clear.
Wow, we'll talk about an intense moment of racing there. That could have been real bad for Beckner and the 6 at Munsell. It could still end bad there, but nonetheless, Urashak going to drive away from it as he's almost 13 seconds behind James Skiley. When things cycle through, he'll be leader once again. And Munsell going to try and close back in on the bumper of Beckner. A little further back, Brody Falker getting passed by Matthew Bell for the 8th spot.
Yeah, that was a quick pass. Didn't spend a lot of time on it. Urashak keeping Beckner in the rear view for now. Really aggressive climb over the curb, though, and Beckner was much cleaner through there.
Oh, big moment there on the exit for Munsell.
Elwood pits from the lead. That will turn things back over to Scioli. We'll go back to Beckner and Urashak. I think Beckner's a bit quicker than the 12, and I don't think it'll be too long before we see them go back at it up front.
Well, I think what we saw with Beckner in the first run, I think he burned up his stuff a little bit too much early on in the run, so I think he really needs to make sure he avoids doing that a second time, because he's got a solid chance of getting up to second here. See him absolutely fly over the curbs.
Watch the second hit here. Holy mackerel, that's about as hard as you can hit a curb without flipping the thing over. Beckner's back, though.
We'll see if there's going to be any hole in Urashak's defense. Urashak's been pretty good at defending so far. He's not let anything phase him. Especially when we saw that big tie with Beckner early on. He was able to keep it calm and collected and keep his nose ahead of the 27.
Keeping his head on a swivel, too, with the close quarters racing we've seen over the last handful of laps. And Urashak going to get the drive off, and Beckner going to try and have to reel him back in with hard braking through the backstretch chicane. Falker still having a moment. Slaughter going through the 9th. Falker down to 10th.
Brad Slaughter set himself up to have a really nice night. Didn't get a very good qualifying effort, but solidly in the top 10 now. Not sure that he'll go up much further without some assistance, but a solid top 10 after qualifying almost out of the top 20. I think you'll take that at a discipline that might not be something that you have highlighted on your resume.
Yeah, he's got 4.5 seconds next to Matthew Bell, but that's not too bad. Yeah, I was actually a bit surprised that early in the race he was running just around 15. I thought that was a little lower than I expected for him, and now finally broke inside the top 10. As we look back at Greg Mitchell running in 15, he's made up a couple spots. Now fighting with Jeremy Miller here at 14th.
Mitchell could still rally through and get a top 10, but things go in his favor. One of them got again around that 30 car, who's out a moment as well. Falker actually down pit road right now, so there's the spot right there.
It's the last driver that had yet to pit other than Steve Durham. It's 25th. Here comes Mitchell with a look up the inside, not quite close enough to take a swipe at him yet. Swiper no swiping. Oh, wow, Mitchell stayed tight right there, right up against the wall, and he's going to go by the 30. I don't know that Miller's going to be able to do much to contest that, other than cross him over on exit, which is challenging because of how wide the exit is of turn 4.
He tried to cross him over, but couldn't quite get there. Stuck in behind the 2 yet again. He's going to try to wait for some sort of opportunity here, especially as they go up and over the hill, back down again. A lot of chance for the car to get upset as the 2 almost hits the right-hand concrete wall. He just keeps off of it. Actually looked like he might scamper off away. One driver that isn't getting away, there was number 12 away from 27.
And Beckner closing back in, going to get close to throwing into turn 1. Now rolling through turn 2. You see in car just looking at him working the steering wheel there. And they're now going to head into turn 3. Beckner got to continue to send it in, but that's going to make for a bad exit as Connor Urashak might have the drive off, but Beckner still keeping close nose and tail.
I'm actually surprised that Beckner has this car dialed in as well as he does, because we've seen his driving style really cater to the tracks where he can be aggressive, and road courses in stock cars, especially with this tire, you have to be pretty kind to them over the course of the race. And you'd think Beckner would just light up the tires and he'd be done after 5 laps, but he's been very conservative with them in his running laps that, while they're still a ways off of Scioli's times, they're pretty much in line with all the rest of the fast drivers right now, and quicker than most.
Yeah, I'm not gonna lie, I'm kind of regretting not picking Beckner. I wish I did.
I almost did.
I was between him and Nichols. I felt like Nichols might be a little bit stronger here at the Roval, but Beckner is definitely proving me wrong here. He's been so close to getting second, hasn't been able to, but he's been mounting that pressure on the back of his teammate.
There's a will, there's a way, and he's almost finding a way. He's found a way to get back up to the 12th, but hasn't found a way past, and yet not sure if it would be smart to use the bumper on your teammate, but I've seen that happen time before, but we'll see. He's still got 15 laps left in the Roval race here, final road course race of the season.
One and only Roval road, wow.
Oval road race.
Final one and frick. The one and only road race this season. Gosh, come up with a better name, Charlotte. They trademarked Roval as if it was a new idea. Look at this battle. Jeremy Miller and Richard Thomas, Clayton Montgomery. Here comes the 45 to the inside of the 37. And this is for 15th spot.
And we'll make the pass clean on Thomas to get that spot. Yeah, I was going to say some of them, I feel like Daytona might have a few words to say to that. I think they were one of the first, if not the first.
Yeah, most of the North American ovals have a road course configuration, and most of the time it's the configuration that's run most of the year because they're used by Track Day Works all across the country. Texas Motor Speedway, I'm not sure if they still use it a lot, but the old configuration certainly got used. Atlanta Motor Speedway, Iowa, Michigan has one.
And the interesting thing is that a couple of the road courses were seen on the national scene with IMSA running a couple of them. Iowa, I think either them or ALMS.
It was Grand Am back in 2004 through 2007, I think.
Yeah, I was saying about Texas. I think ALMS ran
ALMS
Texas.
did run Texas. SRO ran the Las Vegas Roval.
Yeah.
That was recent. As of 2019, they ran that. That was the year before I joined. I almost went there.
And I think that was the interesting one because I don't think they weren't allowed to run the banking.
Yeah, they kept them on the apron and put cones up, and yeah, we haven't been back.
Yeah, let them live.
But yeah, there's also the Grand Am season in Homestead has a fantastic Roval.
It
used to get used in Grand Am. Grand Am's 06 schedule is wild. They did like Daytona twice, Watkins Glen 3 times, Iowa and Homestead Rovals, and they just raced anywhere and everywhere that they could.
I guess that makes sense thinking about it back then, right? Because I never realized that it was owned by NASCAR. But obviously, it makes a lot of sense that they ran out a lot of Rovals.
The funny thing is that this Charlotte backstretch chicane configuration is not even only the second configuration. There was a chicane put in I think 1999 to 2001 when ALMS ran here, and that was just a tire chicane, and it was worse. So even the Death Sling chicane was an improvement when that first came out. Of course, we've since figured out some better solutions to even that. But
why not put a ramp there?
I mean, that's basically what the Death chicane was. And this is too if you treat it wrong enough.
This battle heading through here, the 45 and 30 has been heating up. They've been on each other's bumpers the last lap or two. Montgomery trying to find some sort of way around Jeremy Miller. Miller up 2 spots from where he started. Montgomery up quite a few more. Of course, if he can have one more in his collection here, but Miller is putting up a solid defense.
Going to give a little tap to Miller heading into the front stretch chicane, the final 2 turns of the Roval lap. And here comes Montgomery now to the inside of Miller. Going to look for that spot. Heading into turn 1, going to be close, but Miller's going to have the edge. Montgomery's still down low for turn 2.
Just tough because, a slip from the 30. I was going to say, even if you get drivers left here, what do? 2 corners that are right-handers. Going to give the advantage back. It's actually 4 corners that are all consecutive rights, but if he can cling on the outside here for long enough, he'll have it. Nicely done there by Montgomery. It'll open up Miller to passes from Thomas and Therian as well.
There's a change area and trying to enter the mix here, trying to see if he can get it past all 3 of these guys. Going to try to work to the outside of Richard Thomas. Be back on the inside. Just gets squeezed out by the 37.
kept some overlap there. Not quite enough.
And the interesting thing about the Roval, and we just saw right there, is that these turns are so tight, and with these stock cars, so it's so awkward to navigate. The outside is, ironically, in some corners, is the better way to make a move, because you get that run off the corner, you can keep that speed up.
Oh, look at this.
We see quite a few passes executed like that, as Richard Thomas was almost debated trying to get past on the apron.
He challenged him to a duel, and they both put down their swords, thankfully. Look at the 9, up the inside. That's a tough pass to make, and he won't make it yet. 37 stays on defense here.
Very interesting. Still trying to see if he can get on the outside. Going to do the over-under into heading into turn 2. Couldn't get there. Thomas got enough power back on. Stay ahead in 16.
Look at this.
Kieran going to have a look low, going through turn 3 into 4, and Thomas is going to go in the spot. Might try to cross him over here, and oh, look at the tire spin. He tried it, but too much wheel spin coming off the corner wasn't going to be enough.
Back to Beckner and Urashak, not done yet. 10 laps to go next time by, and Urashak and Beckner still remain only 3/10 apart. Advantage Beckner.
Here they come on through, and then you can see Justin Munsell there in the background as we look back at Greg Mitchell, and back in 13th. I gotta say, for Mitchell, this is looking like a significantly more promising second part of the race compared to the opening part, because he dropped all the way down, I think, 22nd, 23rd, now up to 15th.
Yeah, still a steady climb for the 2, and there's 09 as Senesac. Looked at the playoff picture before the race started. He was 11th. Has another solid run here going in the 12th position. A little further up the road, but back in position. Chris Roval running 20th, and Ben Pierce holding on to 21st.
Yeah, they traded spots there in the braking zone. And back to Mitchell and Senesac. This is a great fighter. I mean, there's been no lack of action this evening. And as far, you know, I said earlier that this is probably my favorite stock car to drive on road courses, and it has put on, I think, one of the most compelling shows. The tail end of the Cup race was really good on Monday, but the meat of this race was excellent as well.
Oh, and see Greg Mitchell trying to see if he can size up a move on Senesac. He got cut off there and might have another move heading back on the oval here. Try to see if he can get that on that power. And as you go flying up and over what seems like a hill, as you come back from the banking, it's really difficult to get the power back on.
Dickinson here with the 2 of Mitchell. Going to close in on Senesac heading into the backstretch chicane. Going to use a little more curb than the 09, but that's going to hurt the exit as Senesac has a bit of drive off.
The other thing that's challenging is if you use too much of that paint on the inside, trying to throttle up as well. That if your line puts you back on the pavement, you'll get a slight bit better acceleration. And next time we're here, we might have a little bit of wet weather to compound that problem as well. Here's Therian back on Thomas here for 16th. Shane has not been shy about trying alternate lines and releasing the brake pedal just to get overlap. Look at this. Shallow entry, it's going to cost him on exit here.
Yeah, it's going to cost him to give it up. It's going to drop back a second or a couple tenths of a second further back. Let's go back up to the number 2. Greg Mitchell is still putting that pressure on Bryce Senesac. Senesac's been having a pretty decent race for himself from 18th up to 12th. Trying to see if he can keep that progress. Otherwise, Greg Mitchell is just flying in there. You can see him on the counter steer trying to keep the car corrected. He's been really aggressive these last couple laps, but it might hurt him in the long run.
Good exit, though. Back onto the banking. Senesac slightly better.
This head, I think Mitchell's just trying to find some way he can get around the 09 to Senesac. Senesac's been really good in the braking zones and defense on exit, so Mitchell has been so close to that back bumper, but just can't quite find enough of what it needs to get alongside and shoot past.
Boy, it's almost 15 seconds between Skyley and Urashak. I mean, there's been no competition for the 7 whatsoever. Other than the first 2 laps, he's been driving away with it ever since then.
Yeah, and perhaps no surprise. I mean, this is the Scioli that won the championship last year. It wasn't even close. And he's got you know, a 2-race win advantage over the next closest winners that are all tied at 1. He's won 3 of the 5 so far. It could be 4 of 6 if he could finish this one out. And he's just got enough time and space that he can kind of pick and choose his battles in traffic. And as far as leading races by this much, when you get to traffic, it's like the rich get richer. You've got time to kind of pick and choose your battles, and when you can do that, you gain time.
Yeah, really get to it. He's just been able to step away from the rest of the field, looking now at Thomas. These two have been exchanging positions quite a bit. Terry was at one point in front of the 37, made a mistake, and Richard Thomas was able to get back on by, and they're both chasing down Jeremy Miller, who's just trying to see if he can hold on to a top 15 finish.
Going to be tough for that as the 9 continues to close in. Going to head down the backstretch and into the backstretch to Kane. Might see some overdrive here from one of these guys, or they're all going to take it easy.
A little slip there from
Miller.
the 37. Shane Terry's got a big run. What do you do with it? 37 looks high. They're going to go 3 wide here as they pass Lakatos on the top side. And Therian's through. What a pass.
Give the better part for the braking and will get on past Thomas. Clear that spot. Now they're both caught up on braking to the back of the number 30, Jeremy Miller, who's roped in. So 3-way battle for 15th.
One of the biggest wonders here, can't really see it from any of these angles, but through turn 1, how close the other side of the racetrack is. It's just 1 or 2 thin concrete blocks away from the other side of the track when you fold back on it. We'll see it from high above as they come through turn 7 and 8 as Therian closes in on Miller. Watch on drivers right here how close they get to the turn 1 area of the racetrack right here. It's right on the other side of that wall. Closing rates probably into the 150, 200-mile-an-hour mark with how fast you're going through there. Here comes Shane to the inside of Miller. Miller's going to lead into space.
Did a great job on the exit, able to power it up, and now a track race onto the back straightaway for both of them. Miller going to try to see if he can outbrake the 9. Terry coming back, and will just be able to outbrake the 30 and get past.
Richard Thomas might have a shot on the outside. Going to have to back off, though. And he's actually sliding the tires a bit too much to generate a run, so we'll have to give it another lap or so. See if we can make a run at it. And speaking of making a run at it, here comes the 2 of Mitchell trying to make a run at pass on the 09 and 7 back for 12th on the track. On board with him as he gets closer to the Toyota bumper.
Very, very close. Been working on him for a couple of laps now. Just trying to get the front to rotate. I can feel how frustrating it is this late in the race without enough grip. He's got 2-lap older tires than Senesac ahead of him, which is not helping his case here.
And another battle is actually starting to form just up ahead of them. Eric Wineland's caught up to the back of Brad Slaughter. Slaughter's been pretty slow the last lap or 2. Wineland's starting to capitalize.
Good run here for the 8 of Slaughter, running in 9th, and also Wineland there as well.
See that wiggle on the brakes, though? He's struggling to slow the thing down and get it back up to speed. Yeah, he was rolling that thing down from a long ways back, kind of walking on him side to side, and then that heats the tires up, and when you get back to throttle, you don't have anything there. So I think Wineland's gotten speed and pace, and he's been patient. Nice climb for the 66 tonight. Coming around next time to 5 laps to go.
Starting to get towards the end here. A couple battles starting to heat up. This battle's always been constantly hot. The 2 and the 09, they've not been able to get away from each other for the last 5-7 laps. And I'm waiting for Mitchell to use the chrome horns to just give a little bit of a shunt to the back instead of time.
How patient are you? How bad do you need it, right? I mean, there's a long, long way left in the season. If we were much later in the regular season, I don't think you'd hold your punches back needing to go. But I think right now, the desperation isn't quite there. You know, we always say in grid life, if you got a 6th place car, finishing 6th isn't so bad, right? Sometimes trying to get that extra spot can lead you down in 12th, 15th, 20th. So don't overdrive it, and I think patience and discretion is better part of valor here this early in the season. If this was race 12, I think I'd be thinking differently, but Eric Wineland sizing up Slaughter here. Let's see what he's got.
Slaughter, the car sideways under power. He's just trying to get the thing down because he knows that Wineland's starting to get better traction than him on the exits.
See, boy, they're kind of close whenever they get down into the braking zone for the front stretch chicane. Slaughter with the better exit there. Wineland got a few more laps in order to hunt down and pass the 8. He can close the gap in, but can't quite find a way around it.
The 8 slid the tires huge through turn 1 there. And little slides here and there, they just add up to heat your tires up. You see it costing him more and more as you go through the lap. And
actually, one driver behind them we were going to have to start talking about is Justin Sogak in 11, just kind of sitting there because as the 8 gets held up, 88 starts to draw closer and closer.
Good look for the 66 of Wineland. Out the bumper of Slaughter, who's blinking. A little bit of damage there on the 66 from earlier contact within the race, but still has the speed capable enough in the top 10. Oh, and a battle on track. Euroshak and Beckner once again going at it for second.
Yeah, he had a swipe at him and wasn't able to get there. He had the full car alongside, just couldn't quite complete the pass. So we'll keep our eyes on those two because that's getting very spicy. And then back to Wineland and Slaughter because this one's coming to a head as well. And Furness and Elwood for 6th. How about this? Battle's kicking off now. Crank up the temperature. It's the last 4 laps here at the Roval.
Yeah, that started with the number 12. He got held up by the 29 of Chris Roval on the edge of the chicane that allowed Beckner to make a bit of a swipe at him. But yeah, looking at this battle now, Furness and Elwood. Elwood the attacker. Furness trying to see if he can defend a spot. Try to just hang on to 6th place. As Elwood really hasn't gone anywhere. Started in 7th, is continuing to run to 7th. Although it's a horrible exit for him. Here comes the 10 taking advantage.
Yeah, going to get caught behind the lap car as well, so that's going to benefit Elwood a lot in the number 10 car. And I want to say that paint scheme reminded me of Eric Amarola, although he's not in cup racing anymore, but just the color scheme and everything, it reminds me of that, and it's a good look for the Elwood machine, trying to get inside the top 5. Not going to have enough time to do so, but the 8 of Slaughter holding on. And I was just about to mention Nana Sogak having a solid run inside the top 15. One spot shy of cracking that top 10.
Yeah, Nana Sogak just killed all the flexibility Wineland had in this pass because as soon as Eric tries to set up a corner, Nana Sogak's going to fill that hole. And that's very frustrating when you've worked over lap after lap after lap. You have your opportunity, and then bam, someone from behind you keeps you from tucking in
and braking.
Whoa!
And Sogak was late too, and that's going to allow the Wineland machine to go into 9th. And Anna Sogak going to crack inside the top 10. And now here comes Senesac and Mitchell.
Wow, that was all very quick. Let's have a look. Braking zone. They just all locked up, got in there too hot. Just that's target fixation. They've been using the same braking points for 38 laps, and then all of a sudden someone misses it, and they all just go in there too hot together.
Yeah, Slaughter another lock up on the front straightaway. Oh, he's still sideways on a brake, and that car is looking like junk at the moment.
Skyoli just got past this battle here for position. Jeremy Miller and Richard Thomas, they've gone back and forth a couple of times, and he's going to catch this group just ahead of him as well. They're still sparring for positions just outside of the top 10. I'm Skyoli, I don't want to be in there. Was there a spin? There was. JT Poole on the back straightaway.
Oh man, this is starting to have a pretty solid run. Spin here near the end is going to put him further behind. Ooh. Oh, this is that battle with Munsell and Nichols. I was starting to heat up, and that pretty much decided that.
Nichols with a little how you doing, keep it moving, and goes through the Poole machine as he's just trying to make it to the checkered flag here. But these two teammates, they're trying to make it to the checkered flag, but will it be without contact? Because Beckner's been closing in on the 12, can't find a way around him, and then a little further ahead of them on the road, the 09 of Senesac and the 2 of Mitchell. They're close to having a shot at the top 10, but closer to having a shot at Slaughter.
Battles everywhere on the racetrack right now. Miller and Thomas, Senesac, Mitchell, and Slaughter, and then Euroshak and Beckner. Where's Skyoli? He's on the backstretch coming to the white. Well, everybody's popping off in the background. Euroshak and Beckner. This one, I think, could get interesting here. Beckner denied a win the other night.
We all know the #1 rule of stock car is staying to a wreck your teammate.
I thought the first rule of soccer racing was learn how to wreck someone without wrecking yourself.
All right, rule number 2.
Rule number 2.
Look at this
What's
mess.
rule number 3? Do it for Dale?
Do it for Dale.
Do it for Dale.
Here comes Mitchell, Senesac, Slaughter. That was pretty interesting. White flag is out for Scioli. He is lapped up to 14th place. Here we go. Beckner and Urashak. Game on.
Yeah, last lap for these guys, so it's all on the line now, depending on what Beckner wants to do, depending on what Urashak wants to do, how much they really need this spot.
Little push.
No!
All the while, the 8 and the 2.
Greg Mitchell deep in the braking zone. Contact with Slaughter as they go flying over the curbs. And the spin as they make contact.
Right in the middle of the chicane. Nowhere for anybody to go except around. And here comes Beckner and Urashak up onto the banking for the final time. 0.3 of a second. Scioli's well clear. This is the battle for P2.
Boy, backshot chicane is where it's going to get spicy. Will Beckner send it, and how far will he go?
Oh, this 12's loose. Messed up the chicane.
I think he messed it up.
Here comes Beckner. Battle for second is on. James Scioli wins, but here comes Urashak and Beckner side by side on the banking for the final time.
Can Beckner throw it in there and hang on? That's going to be the big question. Can Urashak set up anything? He's going to make a dive.
And side by side through the final corner, they're going to run into each other. Banging doors to the checkers. Side by side contact. Urashak gets it by a nose.
And that's what you like to see.
We will go
16 thousandths of a second at the line.
We will go back and watch that. Other battles to keep our eyes on. Anasogak and Senesac. This is for 10th. There's a spin and crash somewhere. What car is that?
Steve Durham, I think.
That's correct. And Urashak
the virtual oil down.
Stole that back in the nick of time. Let's see if Senesac can do the same.
Oh man, big set. This is for 10th on the racetrack. He might have another shot here. Heading through NASCAR 3 and 4 for the final time. Crucial points on the line for both these guys. Senesac looking for a top 10 finish, but Anasogak trying to hold on to the run he's got.
Final corner. Senesac closing in. He's got to nail this, but not well enough. Anasogak will hang on to 10th place at the Charlotte Roval. Scioli already finishing up his cooldown lap, but let's go back and watch the battle here between Urashak and Travis Beckner. All set up with that mistake in the chicane. I mean, they left each other about as much room as you can.
Oh yeah, I mean at the line right there, it's all off the table, and there's Urashak, and I thought he was going to settle and just let the 27 on by, but he made that last second dive, and they gave each other just about enough room to make it through their one piece.
What that last corner about as wide as you can, and that's what led Beckner to, all right, well, I'm going to run you up in the fence. Look at the 12 runs, the 27 a bit wide through there, and then Beckner's like, all right, I'm going to return the favor. Puts him in the wall, side-by-side door banging, and that's just good hard racing, Kyle.
That's cool. That is cool. Wow, the Roval. Look at the blimp in the blimp shot. I've never seen that before.
I thought this was the blimp. What is this?
We lied to you here on Sim TV. Let's have a look at your results tonight. James Scioli, Connor Urashak by 16 thousandths over Travis Beckner. How about that? Justin Munsell, Jake Nichols, the rest of the top 5. Elwood, Furness, Bell, Eric Wineland with a nice run in the 66, and Justin Anasogak sneaking away at 10th place as well, Finian. And then from 14th on down, they were a lap down, but still some good battles amongst them.
Yeah, some great battles amongst a lot of these guys in the midfield. They really put on a show. They were close together all race long, battling up and down the order. Talk about Greg Mitchell, his recovery. I'm amazed that he's able to finish 13th after the night he's had. He dropped all the way back down outside the top 20, climbed his way back in. Clay Montgomery, a solid run for him. Didn't really talk a lot about him. And you got Tyrion Miller, Richard Thomas, Cameron Hearn, Chris Rabel, Ben Pearson, JT Poole was able to come back to top 20.
Indeed, as Falliker, Garcia, and Robertson were the last of those with a lap down. Slaughter 2 laps down there at the very end that last second ordeal. He was going to come away with a finish just outside the top 10 instead, 24th for him. Durham was smoking on the last lap. Lakatos as well with a 26th place finish. Then Ballard, Bowie, Garrick Rant finished 29th after a moment there on the racetrack. And Sheen Abbey as well. He had a good run going, but comes home 30th.
And down the rest of the order. Drivers that are happy to move on back to the ovals next week and unbolt the curbs themselves. I think they'll be out there tonight with a driver taking these things out of the ground and getting ready to go back on the oval next week. What a battle, what a race. We've got our third place finisher, Travis Beckner, here. Only third by 16 thousandths of a second. What a brawl there, Travis, between you and Connor at the end. That was fun to watch. How fun was it from behind the wheel?
Oh, it was a lot of fun. I told him I needed the points, so I was going to race him hard for it, especially when it came down to the end there. I'm just happy that I didn't get involved. I'm really happy that I didn't get involved in anything tonight, as in getting wrecked or spun on accident on lap 1. But, oh, that was a lot of fun between me and Connor.
Yeah, I mean, take me back to that final lap there because we saw Connor make that slight mistake. You can kind of approach that final chicane a couple different ways. So is that one of those things where you're just reacting in the moment and taking what you can get, or is that something that you were planning on setting up, knowing that he might make that mistake?
I mean, we were in the same Discord call, so I was telling him, oh, you better watch out. I may send it down the inside right here. And I guess he ended up wheel hopping into the corner. I was like, oh, yes, this is perfect. And got to his inside, and then we had a huge drag race down to the line. That was so much fun.
We better watch out. Better not cry. Travis Beckner's coming this time. Travis, third place tonight. Congratulations on P3 and that number 27 Calusa Pines Chevy.
Yeah, before I go, I'd like to thank my sponsors, Calusa Pines Landscaping, Celsius, Alien Gear, everybody at Miller Racing, Area Shop, Huckett Films, and everybody at Low Dollars.
Well done, Travis. Congratulations. We'll see you next week at the Oval.
Thank you.
And second place, Connor Urashek, just throwing it in there at the end. Made a mistake in the chicane, almost gave away second, and you took it back. What an epic finish between you and Travis there at the end. Take us through those last 15 seconds of chaos from behind the wheel of the number 12.
Yeah, that was pretty fun. I made a bunch of mistakes. I shifted the first into one of the chicanes once and almost blew my motor. I had about 4 slowdowns, and then Beckner caught me right at the end, and he got in my head a little bit down the back, and I locked up into the chicane there and then just sent it in and hoped for the best. And just with how we bounced off the wall, it worked out good for me. So
it certainly did. Good pace tonight. Of course, Scioli's hard to match on these road course races, and as you look forward to the rest of the season, you've had good pace pretty much everywhere. Gonna miss some road racing, or just happy that we're moving on to an oval next week?
Oh, I'm happy we're not doing this. I've never run the Beacon on a road course or this track once in my life, so I mean, it didn't go as bad as I thought, but I'm definitely looking forward to Charlotte and some other ovals for sure.
That was an exceptional run if that was your first time here on this car and this track. It's a challenging and tricky combination. Connor, congratulations. We'll see you next week back here with the curbs unbolted and back on the banking.
Have a good night.
And James Scioli gets it done here at the Charlotte Roval, the one and only road course for the season. And he won 2 of the 3 times that we were here across the couple of series. James, Tuesday didn't go as planned, but tonight certainly did. Led almost all the laps and came home with a 19-second lead, lapping up to 13th place. Business as usual, it seems, back on the road course.
Yeah, business as usual for sure. Going back to Tuesday, I do just have some apologies to give out. First to Travis for lap 1 there. I didn't really want to go for the move. He braked a little bit earlier than I expected, and I ended up getting to his inside and thought that we might be able to go in the entry there side by side, and then he could take it through the right-hander, and just wasn't the case. We came together, so big sorry to him, and then even more sorry to Mason Kane. That was just bad on my part, so we just wanted to air that out here first, and then moving on to tonight, just needed a good rebound after Tuesday, and just knew that I wanted to qualify on pole and just put my head down and just show the pace that I had. I felt that I had this kind of pace on Tuesday too, and just never got to show it, and took some people out of contention. So just really wanted to show what we had here.
Well, as far as moving on to next week, we take the curbs apart and head back on the banking next week. You got 4 wins of the 6 races so far. Does this keep the momentum going, or is next week too different of a challenge to take a lot of learnings?
Definitely a different challenge. I have been fortunate enough to win Charlotte a couple times in area though, so I think they'll have some good speed. There were the new oval updates though, and I haven't run any oval races since then, so I don't know really if anything's changed. Maybe if the outside works a little better, or maybe if the line's a little different in qualifying. So probably have to put in a little bit of time and just try and figure out what has changed there. So
We'll find out next week. James, congratulations. 4th win of the season. We'll see you next week right back here at Charlotte.
thanks, guys. Huge shout out to you guys for capturing all these races and everything you do. Big shout out to the admin team. Luckily, I was able to stay out of their hair tonight, so I'm sure they were pretty happy about that. And then code Skyoli, get you $7 off at rickshotsauce.com as always. And then big thanks to Dandles Candles, Matt Co Tools, Butt Kicker, Chris Sports Cards, and David Weishart Racing. And we'll try and go get them next week.
We'll see you there, James. Thanks for talking.
Thanks, guys.
All right, guys, wrapping things up here from the Charlotte Roval, and that's the biggest news of all next week on the Oval, Finian. Oval Refresh has changed some things, so everything we thought we knew about how the multi-groove worked, it might not be a complete 180, but it's certainly some unknowns as we head into our first Oval back since that change and adjustment. So not a big deal here tonight. It was all about putting the car on the apexes and clipping the curbs, but next week it's back to hunting for grip in multiple grooves.
Yeah, I was going to say it's the first step in iRacing's oval refresh plan. So, yeah, supposedly track temperature is going to be a big thing. We've seen some hot races here at the Charlotte Oval, so we'll see if that's going to play into a factor. And, like you mentioned, see these guys struggling and searching for grip all night long.
Oh, that oval is going to be like a breath of fresh air for a lot of these guys that did not have good runs this week on the Roval. But we can get that out of the picture because road courses are no more for the rest of Season 5 in area. And not too far behind the Charlotte Motor Speedway. We'll have more info on this next week. But the Charlotte Dirt Track, we want to keep an eye on that as area is going to hold their 3rd ever charity event race there. More info to come for the following week. But for now, we'll head back to the Oval and take it from there, Kyle.
Yeah, you can scan that QR code to learn more and donate. Benefiting the Make-A-Wish Foundation so far this season, $180 raised of the $1,000 goal. That will happen after our winter break, but just keeping that on the horizon as we make our trudge towards the end of the area season. And we got one more week of racing in 2023 before we take a little break and come back. But it's Charlotte again next week, and it's a hometown race for the NASCAR guys. We'll see you right back here from Charlotte in a week's time. Thanks so much, Kyle Heyer, Hunter Sleppy, Finian D'Acuna. We'll see you next time.